last time I got talking with everybody and I quit recording, or I never hit record, just so that we can share it into the group afterwards for anybody that misses it. I'm going to shoot Michelle an invite too here. So how you been?
I've been good, thanks. Working hard.
Good to
Haven't been online too much just lately.
No?
I've been keeping up with things as best I could. But I've got to sort of get down to making a strategy to making some better gains online, I think.
Yeah?
But it's good to see Bitcoin going back up again for the rally. It's going to top over 12,000 maybe this time.
Yeah? Have you looked at the charts in the last 15 minutes?
No.
It hit 9,400. It dropped like a rock. Someone had a massive sell-off. I looked at the 1 minute chart and it was pretty impressive. Let's see if this is, no, that's the wrong one.
That's mad. Was that expected?
We had a feeling. Did I just choose the same one? I did. We had a feeling that it was gonna do that. Why is it sharing? Weird. So this is the 5 minute chart.
Kidding me, look at that.
But you see, it hit that 9,400 mark. I had a feeling. You can see they're just a massive sell-off within.
Yeah.
No one would have had a chance to. I haven't seen something like that in a while, but I had a feeling when we were back here, just the way that the chart, like you can see big time on Bitcoin. I was watching Litecoin, and just how the RSI climbs.
Is that kind of a classic head and shoulders heading up here, though? If possible.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's I don't know. My gut feeling was telling me that we were in for another little drop here, just the way the RSI was reacting, right? Like it didn't really feel that positive, right? Like it felt like we were in for a bit more of a drop. I was mostly watching my EOS. I am definitely big on my EOS right now, and just the way like some of these drops, you can see this high, the way it correlates on the RSI here compared to the low, and then this high, right? Like it just, the RSI climbed up more than the price did. So that just, yeah, I didn't go with my gut. I'm not trying to day trade these markets anyways, but I was talking with Michelle here not too long ago, and I'm trying to buy as much Bitcoin as get as much fresh coin into the markets as I can right now. I got a few contracts.
That's the thing, isn't it? When these dips come, you jump back in with fresh money, and then that's how you kind of dollar average in.
Yeah. So I was kicking myself a little bit. I was not quite as patient. I'm getting better, but I'll never leave any, cash sitting on the side. It's just like, I should have done, 25% around. But I'm perfectly fine with picking up, EOS at 4. I think I paid 420. Somewhere, about 460, 450, somewhere in there. So really, in a week or 2 weeks, Marius figured by the 24th kind of thing that we're going to be well on the up and up. So if we hit $13, $15 EOS, I won't care if I'm hitting, if I bought it at 450 or 460, right? Like it'll be peanuts at that point. So
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just hold in there.
Anything you wanted to cover here on this call, Philip? We're trying to keep it fairly loose so that people can come on and ask their questions. I don't have a structure or anything, and just wanted to make myself available for people to come ask questions or,
Oh, I get it. Well, I was just kind of coming on just because this is my first webinar. I've really taken time out to kind of, because it's like 11 o'clock here and it's sort of
Oh,
past my bedtime for an early start, but I thought I'd make the effort and
dude,
see what it's all about.
always appreciate
No,
it.
I was just kind of sort of, I don't know, the signals that you get through, you still got to kind of read them and then make a decision on the way you go and kind of at what point you jump in and what point you jump out. Like this one, I mean, nobody could have really jumped in there and made a call on that really to make any money
No.
on coming out unless you had already done so.
If you had cash on the side kind of thing, because Marius
Yeah, and
did
then
say
you can
several
buy
times
back
we
in.
could see
Yeah,
$9,400, right? So
yeah,
I was, kicking myself fairly.
yeah.
I went off dates. Oh, I got
You've got an echo.
scared myself. Yeah. I went off the dates instead of my gut feeling because typically I'll use the RSI index, and if we're way oversold, that's when I start buying. But he had mentioned the February 10th levels that we could retrace to, so I was just like, oh, EOS is there right now, and
Yeah,
Ethereum hadn't crashed yet, right? So I'm like, I'm getting into EOS before Ethereum crashes, and I made a decent amount on that swing, same as
yeah,
before when I switched from Litecoin to XRP, right? Like I
mm,
rode Litecoin from 38 to $72, and then that's when I switched to XRP and then rode that. I paid 23 cents for my XRP and rode that to 32 cents, I think it was, kind of thing,
yeah,
right? So it
yeah.
was like,
Mm.
did I care that Litecoin only hit 74 instead of 78? No, I was already out of the markets, right? So
Right.
that's where
Was there some news that precipitated the drop? Do you know?
I'm not too sure yet. I just checked to see Marius. He had commented about not being emotional, but looking at the 1 minute chart, it dropped hard. So I'm not sure if there was just a whale. Someone was trying to push the markets down or what. I haven't seen anything yet. But good to see you, by the way, Bob.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure something will come out, whether it's a massive sell-off or what. There was some news through DeFi. A couple people, they're calling them hacks, but it wasn't a hack. They just manipulated the markets, right, and made off with $600,000 here. I think it was 450,000 the first time. Within 3 days, there was three of these, or two or three of these instances where they had manipulated the markets with low volume and pushed the market down. And there's exchanges that have been known to do that before too. Like not the exchange, but they'll figure out which exchange has the lowest volume, dump that one exchange, and then the price reflects with all of them, right? So $1 million, you can easily manipulate the market. Marius has come on and said a few times, right? So how many people out there have $1 million? Well, quite a few, right? So we'll see what happens, but it was a really strong rebound too. So I could see maybe it try to push through again, but I would buy as much as I could right now. But just riding it out for me. I'm not concerned whatsoever. I position myself to wait. I pay my bills with crypto trading, so I'm good for a month.
Well,
Or I have to think about cashing anything out.
I was fortunate. I was sitting on cash a few days ago, and Litecoin dropped, and I got it at 69.
Nice.
So
I think what's Litecoin at right now?
71, 79.
Oh yeah, nice grab. So you bought it right on that bottom wick, hey? I was watching it. I had came in. Well, I've moved mostly into EOS, but a little too heavy on EOS, but we'll see. I got a good feeling for some of these Chinese coins. The coins that the Chinese are picking up. I never got into Neo, but Ethereum is always one of my favorites. I figure it'll translate into some of the ERC20 tokens like basic attention. Link is another one I was talking with Brody about. I was kicking myself, but I got like 7 coins right now, so that's already double what I usually go with. But just shopping, we've seen a really good first month, so spreading that wealth around. Link and Vet.
Yeah, and they're saying Monero is good to go for the next couple of years as well.
Yeah,
Good one for a hold.
That's one that I'm big on the privacy coins. Like I'm looking at getting some doing a VPN and running a Tor network and stuff. Like there's more and more articles coming out that they're using chain analysis to track USDT now, so Tether. So I'm only using TUSD, but they're already doing that with Bitcoin, right? So that they can look back and be like, where did this Bitcoin come from 3 years ago? They're doing the same thing with Tether. So that's where, not that I'm hiding anything, but I'm gonna, protect my privacy, and because you never know, they're looking for people funding terrorism and stuff, right? So if you accidentally end up with a Bitcoin through the exchange that a terrorist had 3 years ago, well, they're gonna try and confiscate it or lock your wallet. Not that I'm trying to spread FUD, but that's kind of what one risk is. It's never happened before, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen in 5 years' time, right? So little steps now
Wow,
to protect ourselves.
you got Trump. He's heading up a task force to clean up Bitcoin, isn't he? He's just put a
I'm
whole
sure
bunch of
they're
money
all on
into it.
top of it, right? They want their taxes. They want their taxes. So
Yeah.
that's where Tether is one of the most used for people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not converting it to US dollars. They're converting it to Tether and moving
Yeah.
forward. So that's where, I had a chat with a guy here yesterday, I think it was. This Safe Trade, one of my favorite projects, is they just finished an update, bringing on more liquidity and more coins again. So it's one that I'm going to be using much more to pick up Digibyte. And there's some other projects on there that are supposed to do really good that aren't on Marius's reports, but I'll throw 20, 40, 50 bucks in like Raven coin, stuff like that, right? But it's decentralized and it's a privacy focused, not company, but coin, right? So there's no KYC. They don't have any of your information. And that's actually one of my main concerns with like Bitfinex or Bittrex, one of those two. They're demanding social security numbers now and stuff like that. Well, these exchanges get hacked fairly regularly. So now if that exchange gets hacked, they have everything that they need to steal your identity.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's coming full circle back to like XMR. It's
Mm.
privacy focused as well, and that's where you know I don't have anything to hide, but people have no business knowing what my balances are, right? 'Cause that's there was a guy not even that long ago. He got held at gunpoint and forced to transfer his Bitcoin out because he was broadcasting that he was a wealthy Bitcoiner. They kidnap,
Right.
right? So you're not so wealthy
Yeah.
now, but
No.
it's a concern. People's privacy is, it's privacy. I don't want people, knowing, not that I have anything to hide, but just small steps. So
Still, you don't want it broadcast.
no, you don't want to broadcast. So that's like saying, oh, I got a ton of gold sitting in my basement. Well, there's chances someone's going to break into your basement, right? Like, so not that, I don't see the government broadcasting their financials. I mean, that transparency would probably raise some scrutiny, right? So not that I want to get too political, but yeah, definitely going to be focused more 2020, 2021, 2022 with privacy coins. So SafeCoin is one of my favorites. I've been supporting them for a couple of years, not being paid, not sponsored, just love the project and love their vision. So that's it's good to see them come out. And yeah, they got it's basically like a merchant setup, right? So near instant payments. I did a video here yesterday or 2 days ago on it, and I hit send on my laptop, showed my phone, and it was already in my wallet on my phone, kind of thing, right? So it's a good merchant payment system, as well as I've got some use cases for them that could be very well. It's a low supply. One thing that I'm not so, XMR is like the extreme of the extreme. Nobody knows what the supply max is or anything like that, right? So I'm not a super tech savvy guy where I can read the code and be like, okay, this is how it all works. Maybe someone's going to dump the market. It's tough to say, but it is supposed to do very well. Where SafeCoin, that it's capped at 31 or 32 million, something like that. So it's kind of, it's privacy focused, but you still have some information to base your decisions off of, is one reason why I really like it. But I'm loading up on XMR, SafeCoin, privacy coins for sure, and then taking steps to protect my privacy for sure. Getting away from Google is the biggest one, right? Like,
Yeah, who do you use for your instead of Gmail, email stuff? What do you
Proton
use for
Mail.
that? What's that?
Proton Mail. I can
Proton Mail.
send it in
Okay.
the chat here. But it's encrypted emails. I'm told the deliverability is very good, so that's one thing that I always used a Gmail account for setting up on exchanges, because I knew that those emails coming from them were going to show up, whereas like
Yeah.
Hotmail and stuff, it's hit or miss. But Proton Mail is, from what I'm told, everyone I've asked, I've never heard anyone not getting an email or a verification code or anything like that. So I'll be setting up more Proton Mail accounts and setting up different exchanges and stuff. I don't do KYC on any of my exchanges either. So that's why I like Binance and KuCoin, is you're up to 2 Bitcoin withdrawal per day before you do KYC, whereas some of these others like Bittrex, you got to submit your social security number and your fingerprints pretty soon, I imagine. Facial recognition actually is very big right now. There's a couple exchanges. I was like a little iffy on it because the facial recognition software, I already had an account. I was like, oh, they already got my information, but it was used for Crypto Bridge. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but it was a decentralized exchange here running for quite some time, mostly masternode project, proof of stake kind of thing, and they closed shop because they were forced. Obviously, they weren't that decentralized, forced to do KYC, and they just either they took it as an excuse to exit, or they just said we're not going to comply with the EU regulations, kind of thing. So that's, the EU is really who's pushing a lot of this. The States is, on top of things. I guess Anthony and you as well, Philip, I believe, are in the UK. Would know better than me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So I mean, that's that argument. You don't want to fund terrorism, but I don't want the government spying on me either. So I'm very, morally responsible. I'm not out there trying to rip people off or anything, but then, plus token and stuff like that. I had a really good conversation with a guy. He was talking about OneCoin, I believe it was. I thought like it's a Ponzi scheme from years back, and it's still running apparently. So they've arrested all the top members and all sorts of stuff, but it's still running. I'm told he was asked to do a documentary, or he's going to be a part of a documentary on it, right? So they figure that this the last quarter of 2019, that massive sell-off that we saw, that was just day after day after day of downtrend. It was the plus token guys selling off billions of dollars of crypto, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum. Right. So that's where, it'd be nice to figure out who those guys are and arrest them, which most of them had been caught already, right? So that's, crime doesn't pay, which is good. But
anybody use Bitfinex that Marius uses?
Some of the big traders do use, Bitfinex or Bittrex, but I'm not sure which ones Marius uses. But I imagine, Coinbase Pro is popular, stuff like that.
I think I think Marius uses Bitfinex, he said.
Yeah. He uses the charts for Bitfinex, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I imagine you would use the same chart in the exchange to correlate, but yeah, for liquidity purposes, it's way up there. Binance is getting up there, but they don't, not quite that high yet. Yeah. Was there anything you guys wanted to cover? I know I went on quite a bit of a rant there. But the
Has anybody done any of the future trading?
futures?
You know, like 100 times and all that.
No.
Nobody done any of that. I see a chap. My friend, he got involved in doing it a few weeks ago. And he said,
trading.
yeah, and he said he earned 5,000 quid in like 15 minutes, which is amazing.
You can also lose 5,000 quid in 15 minutes, right?
That's what he did. And then the following week he had another go, and then he lost his 5,000 quid in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's like day trading. We all,
Yeah.
I think everyone here is in to know it. And, day trading is risky enough. Well, now you're multiplying your gains and your losses by 10 or 50 or 100. Right? So that's a real quick way to lose your house.
Crazy.
Yeah, I've traded the Forex market for years with leverage, and boy, you can make a lot in a hurry, but it can sure be a pain in a hurry too, I'll tell you.
Yeah. No, it's not something, I had a good chat with Michelle. I guess, you were in there too, Anthony, about just being patient and,
I think that's
3 months without seeing much gains, but then all of a sudden, Litecoin goes up 100%, 200%, 300%.
Yeah.
And, if I make 500% a year, I'm okay with that, right? That's pretty. I'd say that's worth, waiting for. Every time I got impatient, I got into Woo token and stuff like that. And
I've never heard of that one.
it's another plus token Ponzi scheme. I'm sure they might come back. There was insider trading. They locked everything up for, pending investigation kind of thing. But that's, I got bored and I was like, I want to, I dabble. That's my. I test everything. That's how I got to where I am today. I test with my own money. So I know, okay, you're in cloud token, how it works, why it's not something I would share or invest in, right?
Yeah.
But I have an extensive network. So I get a lot of these companies, like chatting in the beginner class, that, I've got guys that'll sponsor my positions. They're like, just check it out. Obviously, they're trying to get me to share it with our community, which I never will do, especially these investment platforms. But I like to know exactly the inside of what works, what attracts people and stuff, because then, I've got projects that we're building behind the scenes that we can take the good, notice, pinpoint what's not good, why this is shady, why it, could fail in the long run, and then we can use it to improve our own projects, right? So we've got, an arbitrage project coming along.
I was going to mention about arbitrage. Yeah, I'm in this group and everybody's going into this arbitrage, But the thing is, for me, it's a platform.
Yeah.
USI used to do arbitrage, and it just horrors. Horrors, Yeah. So I wouldn't be bothering with any of that, but
absolutely.
I think the idea of it's very good. It's just it's just knowing that the platform is okay, but the problem is that
you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it, right?
And all your money's gone.
It's a mouthful, but no, that's where I've got guys from Singapore, partners overseas, that they want to build their own platforms. So, obviously do your own research, but we're building our own platform that's, fully transparent, regulatory compliant, and it's still a platform, but it's a decentralized autonomous organization. So we don't hold your keys, right? So that's a big improvement. as well
That's
as
good.
regulatory compliant, right? So we're not a custodial service, right? Which is where a lot of these things run into problems, right? Like there's, you know, arbitrage platforms out there right now that, you know, I'm pretty sure they're Ponzi schemes. I'm not going to mention
Yes.
names, but I know the people running them are known to be Ponzi promoters, and
Ponzi promoters.
right,
Yeah.
every step of the way, all they've done is Ponzi schemes, right? So
Yeah.
we want to build, like, there's benefits. We want to build something that, you know, my grandmother could use, right?
That's it.
But it's an
Anybody
option.
anybody heard of Crypto Bravos?
Bravos?
Bravo.
No.
Crypto Bravos? www.cryptobravos.com.
No.
I think it's a Ponzi.
It sounds like a Ponzi.
I don't even mention names anymore, because, you know, 99.8% of these are Ponzi's, or you know, it just takes one guy at the top to exit with people's funds, right?
Yes.
That's why Quadriga's
Right.
in shit right now. Like, it was, as far as I know, a legit exchange, but the owner, you know, died in India, or I believe it was in India. He died in this city that's well known for faking death certificates and stuff like that, and disappeared with, it was like $370 million or something. Yeah, beware of shiny object syndrome. 100%, Brody. So that's the biggest thing, right? A platform is a platform. You're trusting somebody else.
Yeah.
Obviously. You know, I'm not going to ask anyone to trust me, but, you know, I'm doing my own funds, and will, you know, try and provide solutions for the future. Something, because it's undeniable that people want a more hands-off approach, but there's so many people preying on those people that it's, you know, it gives the whole industry a bad name. That actually that's one thing I wanted to discuss a little bit, was these new, like, wallets. Like Exodus is one that I'm using, and you, like,
Brilliant.
Atomic
Very good.
Wallet is another one, right? Atomic Wallet for atomic swaps. If you're not familiar with the term, you swap one coin for another. You know, you just line up with people around the world and then make that trade, rather than, you know, even Binance right now, as great as an exchange as I think it is experiencing growing pains. So, you know, I went to withdraw my EOS, and it's just like, we are experiencing congestion in the network. So it's like, am I going to chance my EOS right now? I'll just let it sit there. But, you know, there was a time when things were really they were really crashing the other day. I tried logging in to, you know, obviously make some solid positions, and I could not get logged in. So
I had that same problem when I was trying to buy that Litecoin. It took me about 3 tries to get in.
yeah,
Luckily, it kept
try
dropping.
again later, right? So
Well, luckily, I bought it lower than I did when I first tried.
yeah, I was kicking myself. I bought in a little bit higher, but again, you know, that's the day trade mentality, where, you know, in a month I won't remember what I bought, if it was 460 or 520 or 410, or, you know, that's going to be neither here nor there. But yeah, the technology is really growing for sure. So that's where, you know, decentralized finance is supposed to be big this year. It's a big driving factor for Ethereum, why they figure Ethereum is going to skyrocket. And you know, that's one of our other projects. I was just lining things up today. We're looking at real estate, right? So it'll be tokenized real estate, where you can buy a share of the property and it generates revenue through rent, right? So something I'm up to here in Puerto Vallarta, but it's going to be pretty big around the world, I imagine, right? So here it's good, but then there's, you know, like back gold. We were talking about carrot bars a little bit. I don't want to, you know, say anything positive or negative, but I love the concept of a gold-backed currency, or cryptocurrency, to be more specific. I mean, there's one that I'm working with. They've got a debit card. It's only available in the EU right now, so I was a little disappointed in that. But it's gold and silver-backed, which is, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but silver is supposed to do very well this year, potentially 10x, right? So that's something. Instead of using USDT, which is, you know, being tracked, now you can switch into a gold-backed or a silver-backed coin, right? So Obviously, you've got to do your own research and verify that they've got the vault holdings and stuff like that. But that's, something I think would be a really strong candidate for the future here. So I've been with these guys for 2 years already. I invested in the ICO and it didn't dump significantly. It's doing pretty good, but that's something I'm pretty excited for. Instead of using, US dollars or pesos, spending your debit card is backed by gold or silver, right? So that's should be coming out here sometime this year, I imagine, over the next few months. Well, they've already got, it's out, but they're ironing out the bugs and stuff before. I just watched an update today before they start really marketing and everything again. So that's going to be my exit strategy after taking profits here over the next, even probably after this next one. We'll see what happens with Marius. If there's a chance that we'll go to all new all-time highs instead of hitting 12K and then retracing again, kind of thing, right? So he said we'll know more closer to the date. Obviously, it's tough to predict the future, but I want to pick up some silver because it is cheap right now, right? So throw a couple 3-5% of the profits in there and just let it ride like some of other XMR, Walton Chain, stuff like that. But yeah, we are getting up to the limit here. Did you guys have anything you wanted to cover, Bob? Michelle? I know you've been quiet, but I've been hammering on, rambling on.
No, I'm good. I've got to go actually, guys. So
No worries. Thanks for
nice chatting with you.
Great to see you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Bob.
Okay, bye-bye.
So definitely good to see some friendly faces. I lost track of time, so I wasn't even sure when the last time I had emailed you guys or anything. So I definitely do apologize, especially if you're watching the recording. Brody, I got it recording this time. But yeah, much more active, releasing updates, especially, we're seeing more price action and stuff like that. So there's actually something to talk about, as well as, more value. We're playing around, or I'm playing around with like Exodus Wallet and Atomic Wallet and comparing that to trading on exchanges and stuff like that now too. So we've got a fair bit of interest in different options that just don't require, your left. I'll rephrase that. It's an oil field term, not meant for ladies' ears. You're not giving your firstborn child to get it set up on the exchange, right? Like, so that's,
yeah, the atomic swaps on Exodus. What's the cost of those?
it doesn't sound. I couldn't find. I'm obviously researching it more still, but I couldn't find much of a fee or anything. It's just a matter of, I believe, finding someone to match that up with. But there is a guy that I've been talking with, and that's all he uses. He's in to know it Python signals, and he just uses Exodus Wallet. He never even uses an exchange. So the only downside is you can't set your limits, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be there doing the trade. But I imagine, I can't verify this. I'll dig into it more if there are fees of some sort. I imagine there's got to be something, right? Whether they, get 0.5% or 0.25% or whatever for just using the software to line up these trades. But I'll definitely dig into that more here before this next mastermind next week and get back to you. That's something I'm interested in too, right? Trying to, I diversified from Binance to Binance and KuCoin. Now Safe Trade's up, so we got options, and yeah, we'll have a nice exchange here pretty quick. So that's more trading pairs, mostly ERC20 tokens, but that's where, basic attention token, Link, and a lot of those, the ones that are tougher to find, we can pick up on there. So the one issue that's been, I haven't said much over the last few months. I've been working with them for 2 years now, is the liquidity isn't quite there, but they're tying in to some of these decentralized, not wallets, but swaps and stuff like that. So it'll be solving a lot of the liquidity issues too. So something we've been working on. That's where the decentralized finance or DeFi comes in. That's actually where I'll be building the real estate project and stuff like that. We're going to they're already planning on having a gold and silver backed currency, right? So they have their own vault, stuff like that lined up, right? So, they've been in the works for 4 years building this out, and right on par. So it's the first exchange to have both the Lightning Network and the Raiden Network. So that's the Ethereum's Lightning Network. Near instant, nearly free transactions, right? So, lots of little perks. Obviously, they've got a long ways to go. It's an up-and-coming exchange, not as pretty as Binance yet, but Binance went from 0 to $1 billion valuation in 9 months, right?
Yeah.
So, setting records for only going to go up and up in here or from here.
Yeah.
But it was great.
So your real estate, how do you plan the future for that? Because there's rumors going around that it's going to be a monetary crash, and in the future, maybe a year or two, would that affect the real estate?
Well, with real estate, they're not making more land. I'm not sure how it's going to affect the valuations for like USD and stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't think USD or any of these fiat currencies are going to disappear, right? They're going to convert to a tokenized dollar. Russia's doing it. China's doing it. They're already coming out with it if they haven't already, as well as I'm sure the US is talking about it. They're a little bit behind the times. The SEC and all that stuff, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're hindering technology advances, right? China's like full steam ahead, right? So I think for the most part, the most of the population won't even notice a difference. All of a sudden, it'll just be like, oh, we've increased your, ability to pay and all this other stuff where, they can flip a switch and seize your account balances. Like just, accusing you of having something to do with drugs or whatever, they'll take yours. They already do it in the States, right? They'll seize your assets. Whether or not you paid for it with illicit funds, they're taking everything you got, right? So long story short, as far as the real estate goes, it's still going to hold its value, right? So whether we, obviously I'm going to be taking Bitcoin and Ethereum tied to that. So it'll have a BTC or Ethereum value, like 1 Bitcoin maybe by then, right? Whereas, we're picking them up for $100,000 US. Or these ones, I'm buying them pre-development, so they're still being developed. That way I can walk through, verify, investigate. The electrical wiring and stuff in Mexico isn't usually up to par with Canada, right? Whereas, we're doing like work share, job share stuff, right? So I can fly one of my electrician buddies down from Canada, stay for a month, do some of the wiring and have it up to code. And then, obviously, I shouldn't say that while we're recording. We got to figure out something that, because you can't work in Mexico on a tourist visa, right? Because you're taking jobs away. Just like people going to Canada, you want to be fair to the local population. That's why I say I shouldn't be saying that recording. It's just not something I would actually do. We got to actually, like, he could be like a foreman and have some investigation and be like, hey guys, I want it to do it this way. Have a little influence on the project, I should say, but we want to support the local population and, bring funds there. That's the idea, rather than the hotels, which is what they do, right? They bring in their own workers and then everyone's pissed off, right? But it'd be tied to Ethereum or Bitcoin and then generating revenue. We'd have our own currency, our own coin backed, right? So it would boost the value of the property, or maybe the shares of the property. The property would stay the same, but those invested in it would see returns, right? Stuff like that. So it's my next project. I already got the developers and everything lined up, but I need a couple $1 million to get that all finished up. So
I've got in my back pocket.
Yeah, not quite yet. We'll see this time next year. We should see some good games. But this thing is going to close up any second now.
Yeah.
Great seeing everyone. Thank you for hopping on. Same time next week if you're watching the recording. You got the invite, or hit me up if you don't have the invite. So good seeing everybody. And let's see some things.
Yeah. Good night.